So thank you so much for having me here tonight. A special thanks to Jeff to bringing me in Chicago. I'm very fascinated about your city. It's a very beautiful city, and I want to come back actually. Tonight I'm gonna work. On this small larch. We pick a material that every one of you more or less can get from a nursery. This is kind of a stock. Yeah. It's kind of a stock that is a pre-bonsai, so it's a material that was grown in a field for years and prepared to become maybe a bonsai one day. You see that some already cut the main trunk. So what normally happen in the field is they let the tree grow freely, and then they cut it back to get a little bit of size, and then they let it grow another branch to rebuild the second part of the trunk, and then we have all the branches. So it's like a free material, or we can consider like a made yamadori that is a good start to build a nice bonsai. So we know that larch is very, very good for bonsai. Actually, is one of my favorite species for the nice interaction that can give us during the seasons. So is a conifer, but in the meantime is a deciduous tree. So we can really appreciate through the larch the change of the season. I live in a place in the middle of the mountain when larch is one of the major species there. And as here we have very strong and different seasons. So from spring, when the brachyblasts of the larch, that are the little buds, they call it brachyblasts, or I think is the translation in there. We say brachyblasti in Italian, probably is the same. How you call the buds of the larch? Jeff?
Buds.
No, actually they are different from normal buds because the brachyblasto has the capacity to become, if the larch can become a shoot, can become a normal opening on the leaves, or can become also the fruit or the flower, according if the tree is a male or a female. So that's the main reason, because a plum tree has different buds according to the way that he has to grow. So they have buds for growing and buds that become flower. The larch has the capacity of decide how the brachyblast is transforming. So, and when we grow the larch as a bonsai, we can also decide, according to the type of feeding that we give to the tree, to push the tree for growing more than let the tree compact. So we can a little bit move the capacity of the tree to use this characteristic. So coming back at this tree, so as every tree that we have to work, there are some good part and some bad part. Especially this tree has a very big and flat cut here that we have to transform maybe in a gin or in a shari. My advice when you grow this type of material is always let a little bit more trunk, because it's easier to transform in a dead part. Normally, the really flat cuts are only on the deciduous tree when we want to get a healing, because we know that we don't make gin and shari on the deciduous tree, so we normally flat cut, put the cut paste, and then we are able to get the completely healing of the trunk. In the deciduous tree, in the conifers, it's always better to be able to get some gin, some shari, some deadwood that can give to the tree some of the flavor of the ancient species that grow in the mountain, and they get hit by rocks or they crack some branches by the snow. So we give some character. So the first thing that I look on a tree when I have to style it is to find the best trunk line. So according to the position, to the nebari and the best trunk line, I'm going to move the branches and style the tree. We know that we have to do that because the hardest part to bend on a tree is the trunk, and the easiest part are the branches. So according to the best front, we can always bend the branches here and there to try to find a style. So if I look at this tree, probably this part that is facing you is kind of a best trunk line, okay? I can't move this straight line here. What I can do, probably, and I will do, is try to bring some of the long branches that the tree has in the lower part of the trunk, so I create an optical distraction from the trunk. So thanks to a lower pad, I can a little bit avoid the eyes of the observer to see too much the straight part of the trunk. Another thing that I can do, according to the work on this part to transform in a little gin probably, I can also connect this gin with a little part of shari here. So also using this dead wood, I can a little bit avoid this part. Then what we have to do? We have to build a structure. So we have to select the branches that have to become the structure of my tree. So as we see, now the tree that is obviously young is involved to grow up, because for dominance, the apical dominance, the strong branches need a lot of light and they want to develop and grow, because the tree don't know you want to be a bonsai, you want to be a tree. It's like, oh, you want to grow. So, you know, we need to bend these branches that luckily larix as pines is very flexible. If you go in high mountain, in my place, for example, the larch is one of the trees that grow higher. Even if it's like in the entire winter we get 19 meters of snow, the larch keep being very straight, most of them. Why? Because it's very flexible tree. Meter of snow, the branches just go down. They never break. What you can find actually, in larch especially, because the fiber of the wood are very flexible, when they grow in a hillside, and so in spring they get a lot of pressure from the snow melting in the hillside, they break the trunk. This I learned, and is a technique. When you can split the fibra of the wood, you can make the fibra sliding on each other, and you can bend the trunk. So you see the cliff, and these larches like coming out with a curve, and then straight on, and in that part where all the pressure is, they break and they do this. Poof. Is the technique of the larch to preserve from just breaking and die. Okay? So, really differently from mugo pine, that in the mountain they grow very, very flat, because obviously they also have needles, so the needles hold a lot of snow. Larch doesn't have needles, so the snow is just pushing a little bit, if just stop in the foliage. Okay? So, my schedule, normal, I don't know, do you want a demo with the surprise in the end, or you want to know the surprise already? What I mean is, do you want me to explain how the tree will look like at the end, or you want to just see how is the development? I may
see how the development.
I would like to know the plan.
I don't know, that's the problem. No, I'm joking.
When you are manipulating branches, we know the purpose. Otherwise, what we see you doing is moving, right, and wiring, and we don't know really why until the end. It's very nice, I'm sure.
Sure.
But by that time, I have forgotten.
I was just joking, because normally I explain and I tell you what I want to do this and that. I was just see what was the reaction? Was just teasing the audience. So, as I said, if I want to avoid this straight part, I need to be able to move something down. So, obviously, according to my trunk line is this one, okay? Because I have first part, second part, third part, okay? Then, we know that it's always good to have the start of a branch making like a shoulder to the trunk. We don't like too much branches that make the bridge. That actually is this problem here. So we see that we have one little and another, so 3 branches coming from the same spot. We have to make a selection. If this is the front, normally it's good to have a branch coming from the side and making an angle between the front and the apex to create, I call, a welcome to the observer. We don't like tree that has the branch against us, like this, a first branch against us, and even more, we don't like trees that stand still, because they don't give us perspective. Bonsai, we work in small dimension, so we need to build a lot of depth to give the impression that the tree, is not bidimensional. Okay, that is some of the problem we can straight see on the picture. So, for example, if I have a big empty space on a tree and I'm able from the back to put a branch that I see in an empty space, I can stop the view of the observer and I create depth. So this is a trick, especially for the picture of when we make trees to be good on the picture. So we make a depth here and also in the lower part, so this part can make a layer and stop the view of the observer. Because imagine if we only have a trunk and everything is here, when we take a picture and the picture is bidimensional, everything seems flat, okay? And especially, if this is my front, a good thing is that I try to have a little bit of the movement of the trunk coming in the direction of the observer. Always for the same reason that I create a space here between my head and my branch. Okay? So, the idea is, because this branch is a little bit problematic, can have a good size to be used down, but obviously I can't bend this part. Is easy, I know, is easy that I can bend this part here and go back and then come back forward to shorten the line that actually is very long. That use this branch that is attached to a very straight part that I can't move. Okay? So the idea is front, first branch, side branch, very short, so I want to move all the line of the tree in your left side. Then I can use these branches to rebuild the apex, so I short the tree already and they will be the end of my line. And I still have to decide that probably I will short this line here, so I can use this branch from the side as a second layer on top of the first branch, because this is too strong and too long. So I need actually to cut away this branch somewhere. Then I have this one here that I can use for the back, and part of this one that I can also use to build a little bit of the back of the tree. Okay? So normally after I made the main decision about the styling, I cut away what is not necessary. We need to push the tree in, So, I'll show this part too. Okay. Now that I cut away what I feel is not necessary for my design, the second step is working on the dead wood. I never start putting wire on or do bending before the dead wood is done, because otherwise I can't work. The hin is a mess. So I need to solve this problem, and the best way to solve this problem, I'm not a big fan of carving tools, the electrical one. I only use them where it's really, really necessary. So if I have to make a part hollow, obviously you need to use a Dremel or a Makita. The goal here is to transform this one in a gin. So what I'm going to do, using the round cutter, I'm going to eat the wood around until I'm able to keep just a gin at the end and in the inner part of the dead. Okay?
No, I'm looking ahead here. Are you going to repot that tree in the same shape, or are you going to tilt it, or have you thought about that?
Yeah, can be an idea to tilt a little bit like that, yeah. But this will be according to how much I can bend this branch. It's a good question.
I know.
So, we want to peel out the bark from that part first.
What is your tool there? What are you using?
Is a potato peeler that yeah, a student of mine made this one, and it's very good to peel out the bark from the part that you have to transform as a gin. Jeff will have this tool soon, so in case someone is interested, you can book your tool. And I use a lot this tool because it's very functional. It's made using a part of a blade, the big blades to cut trees. And my student warm up the blade, the steel of the blade, and is able to bend it. And it's very, very sharp and is eternal. I mean, unfortunately for Jeff, he's gonna sell only one to you. You're not gonna need another one, because really I have this one 3 years, it's still working, and imagine I use kind of every day. So yeah, it's very good tool. You can. I had another one. I know he's here. Pass to the people. I throw to a young one, so I don't eat. I used to eat some. With all my respect, you know. If I have to eat, I eat a young.
They heal faster. It's okay.
So you see, I can go in and cut the cambium and peel out the bark. The good thing about larch, especially a very young tree like this one, is that it's very strong and powerful, and they can heal quickly, so very quicker. So I never use cut paste on larch, because otherwise I risk that with the hormones that cut paste has in, the healing will be unnatural. Sometimes the larch, if we see in nature, they cut part of the larch and is able also to go outside along a cutted part and heal itself without having any green here. So let's say I cut here, and the larch, even if there is no green here, is going to heal this part because it's so strong. Yeah. If I do on a deciduous tree or also in a pine, it's going to obviously dry back until you find the first branch that is alive. Sometimes, actually, this is funny, in the mountain where I live, they use larch to build houses, because, or to make floors. It's a nice, beautiful red texture wood. So they go out in the mountain, they cut these larches. Sometimes the larch has the power, only from the roots, to heal a little bit the cut, without having a tree, actually, because it's just a stump. So yeah, and then obviously he died. this is just to say how strong are the merismatic cellula of the larch, that are the cellula that the larch transform to build the column. So, okay, so you see, I clean around the part, I find where was the living part, you see. Here, even if the part was cutted, was still alive, right? So now going in with my round cutter, there are wolves outside. So normally, obviously, you know that when we make a gin from a stump, we peel in the fiber of the wood to make the point. The operation I'm doing now is kind of the reverse, because I have to reduce the tape of the stump, and the stump is very short, so I can't peel in. I have to break inside and break the fiber outside. So I really reduce the inner part of the gin. Now I remember why I don't like
Now roll into your microphone a second.
I break it already?
I think so. We'll see you busy.
Yeah, no problem. Jeff can take it. Yeah, but you can hear me, no?
Yeah.
It's easy. I have a strong voice. Don't worry. So, actually, what I'm doing, I'm trying to reshape this part. So I can have. I want to have the outside of the gin, that is the part that I'm taking away, like a shari. Don't know if you can see.
Oh, yeah.
You see, I'm cutting away this part so I can keep a little gin here, and then I will make kind of a little shari down, and also a little shari up here that I can actually see a little bit from the front. So when I get in the healing, the natural healing of the larch, this will be just a little gin that can see like a very old gin created in nature, coming out from a column. And also the column is going to give some old flavor to the trunk of the tree. Yeah, I feel that, you know, if you have a part like this, you start Dremel, you're gonna just take away wood, and at the end, you end up with no character. This is my feeling. Obviously, sometimes it's very important to use Dremel and the Makita, because we have big stump, we need maybe to hollow them and then break to make look like natural. But in a part like that one, it's not so important. So now that I let the gin, I need to cut the cambium around very flat and clean, so I can have a healing all the same. So this is my advice. When you do shari, then you break the wood. At the end, just go all around the shari line and cut very, very straight. So you cut the cellula all the same. You're gonna get an healing that is gonna look all the same all around. Otherwise, if we let a part cleaned, a part with still some bark, we get in an ugly column that is not so good.
Do you use cut paste on your other trees?
For normal trees, yes. On larch, no, because it's very, as I said, it's very, very powerful and strong. If I put cut paste, it's gonna make a very ugly, unnatural healing. It's incredible. Larch.
But that's only larch you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You might use cut paste on your maple.
See, sure. All the deciduous trees, because they are very sensible on fungi. So if you leave a cut open on a deciduous tree, you risk that you get fungi in, and then if the spora start going into the live wood, you're gonna lose the tree. It's very, very bad. And also they are very sensible to the sap grind.
Look, yeah.
Yeah, so if you cut a branch and you don't put that, the tree is gonna go back to the first or second internode, and you're gonna lose part of the branch. Is no good. For example, if sometimes I did big bending on larch, that obviously you have, for example, to take away part of the wood, carve it. So in that specific way, I put cut paste because I want really the tree to heal as quick as possible. Try to take away a little bit more wood from the top so I can make my little chin a little bit more evident. Can also help myself with a very sharp knife. So I can flat the side of the cut, so it will be easier for the tree to heal and reach the gin. You see, I have the little gin, this is flat, this is very well cut, the little V at the end, I don't let, just roundish. Now I want to go up a little bit here, so I have a connection between the lower part and the upper part. So even if this part is almost in the part that will be the back of my tree, I need to take care to solve a little bit the problem. Otherwise, it will be always an ugly part of the tree. So you can see, I open the shari, and the shari open, I have a gin in the middle, I go down, and so I create a little bit of texture on my tree. Now, I'm gonna create a gin here, thing like this was the top that get broke, and then the branches start growing lower because something happened here. So I don't just cut straight and then I have this bridge. But I avoid a little bit the problem keeping it alive. And the same I have to do here. That actually I have to that part in the back, in the lower part of this branch. So I need to solve a little bit this situation, also to be able to move this branch and maybe put the branch in this position. Okay? Are you also having problem with larch during summertime here?
Yes.
See, in the period that are very, very hot. Yeah, larch is very sensible where there is no change of temperature between day and night. Because larch, having this very tiny foliage, need a lot of difference of temperature to be able to use the reverse osmosis to pump up the water during the difference of temperature between roots and foliage. Thank you. Because you know how it works osmosis inversa. So with the difference of temperature or pressure, the tree is able to suck the water from the ground. If there is no difference of temperature, the larch is going to just die because it can't breathe. So we see if we have this period and the larch is all day on the sun, and so it's going to accumulate a lot of heat, and in the night it can't put the heat back in the soil to release. We have literally this tree that seems to get boiled, and they flop the foliage from a day to another, and then what's happened? We see what's happening, why the tree died, and then you take out the tree from the pot, because sometimes this happened to me in the late 2003 when I got one of my best larch dying for this problem. I said, yesterday was perfect, and today is like everything is flopping down. Not dry, but like boiling the tree. So I took the tree out, because the first thing you see is like maybe the roots are rotten, I have a fungi. You take the tree out, the roots are still perfect and white. You touch the root ball, and it's hot. The tree was not able to release the temperature, because we had a period in 2003 where during the day we had like 40 degrees and Celsius and and 30 in the night. So the tree can do this. After a week, it was gone. Gone. So the secret was to move the tree in a lower part of the garden where there is some sand or close to the water, so they can have this change of temperature. So, or water in the night, or mist in the night, so you can really drop down the temperature in the garden. So for example, a misting system works a lot for this problem, because you mist during the night 2 or 3 times, and you have your garden that is maybe 15 degrees Celsius, and outside is still 30. Yeah.
And that's true of the European and American larches?
Yeah. The Larix campheri, that this is, I think, this is a decidua, because normally campheri has a more reddish buds. The decidua, and also this part is a little bit like what do you call this? Pink color. Yeah, has a bigger buds, and when they grow in spring, the buds when they come out are a little bit whiter, and the decidua has more reddish buds. So yeah, I feel that the decidua is a little bit more sensible on this. It's more a very high mountain tree. The campheri is a lower. Yeah, so probably is a little bit more resistant to higher temperature. Yeah, I need, as I said, in this part that I have the two gene in the same level. I don't want to create two gene that are kind of the same size, and so, and I still have these branches to bend down. So I'm gonna take away this gene here, the higher one, so I create the space to bend the branch, and I just leave the lower one and make a normal little gene. Need to be careful to not damage the attack part of it. You can see already that you can really easily bend the branch in that position. So, take out the part. It's already a dry part, so it's a little bit too stronger, but the other part is still alive. Take out a little bit of the lower part because it's making the gene a little bit too thick, and taking out the trunk line. Now I can break it. So you can see straight away that now that I reduce this part, my eye is gonna follow straight away this line, not just go out here in a little stump. So I have still this one peel out. You can just build a little chain. Here I can break the gene sideways, just stretch it down. So now that I did my work on the deadwood, next part before the wiring is protect with the raffia the part of the tree that I'm gonna bend. So as I said, I'm gonna bend this part to try to short the tree down, and also I need to bend this one that will be very bended down to recreate my lower pad. So take the raffia. So normally my advice when you use raffia is put together 3 or 4 fibras or more or less according to the size of the branch. Look around, short a little bit this part. Then I need to start from the stronger part of the branch and opening the fiber of the wood with my fingers to create a nice layer, all the same thickness. I go up to my branch. So the double use of the raffia, this operation is first to keep the moisture to the branch. because we know that when we bend a part of the trunk or a branch there is a lot of loss of moisture, and this is very dangerous for the tree, because if we break too much the fibra, and we know that when we bend the branch we make little breaks inside, we risk that the tree is going to disagree with us, with our decision, and it's going to die. Or, not the tree, but eventually the branch is going to dry out. So we put the raffia to keep this and all the moisture to the trunk. And I always put on top of the raffia some plastic tape to hold the moisture as long as I can, because otherwise, if I just put the raffia in, it's going to dry out in like 2-3 days now in autumn. So, you know, if I have the plastic on top, the branch can be watered and wet until spring. So in the meantime, the tree is going to kind of rebuild the little breaks that I made bending the branch. And also because it's good to put raffia so we can protect the branch that actually is still young and doesn't have a strong bark from the big wire that we have to put on the branch to be able to bend it, you know. So,
if the branch is so flexible, how long will it take to take a step?
Larches and spruces take longer time than other trees, especially if the tree is young, because obviously a young tree has a stronger applicans dominance, so always is going to tend to bud and push up. So my advice is obviously keep the wire until you don't see that the branch is swelling and growing and the wire start cutting in, and then maybe remove the wire, or you wire again, or if you feel that the branch is more or less in position, just put a couple of guy wire to hold there, and then obviously time by time when the tree is going to mature, you can fix the position on the main branches. In spruces especially, is always a button. If you don't take away the strongest bud in autumn, and then when the tree is going to start growing in spring, you reselect the shoots to prune more the stronger one and let grow maybe the inner weaker one to fit. You're going to always have these branches like pushing up. So now we're starting from inside. I cover all my raffia with the plastic tape.
What kind of tape is that?
Electrical tape.
With that electrical tape, I use it a lot. It's worth buying a better quality electrical tape like a 3M because it stretches more easily.
Yeah, there is this double sticky tape. Is autoagglomerante is in Italiano. Is in Italian. Is a tape that is gonna stick on itself and you can stretch. But one or another doesn't make any difference. The good thing is be able to really cover the raffia and get the moisture into the branch. If you want to use, the other day we was using the
Friction tape.
sorry?
Athletic tape.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Now I'm going to protect also this part of the tree. We need to cut away a couple of little shoots that obviously I don't need. Is a little bigger part, so I can put like 5 fibers together.
Some lucky person is going to go home with this tree tonight.
Good.
And so we are going to start the raffle process. We'll be doing this for a while, but tickets for $1 a piece, 6 for $5, and we'll be coming around. So get your wallets out.
Some people don't use raffia, for example, and they put only plastic tape on the branch. It's another way just to hold the moisture to the branch. I like to give a little bit extra moisture to the branch to help the branch to recover, you know. For example, when I do bending on very big branches, that sometimes I have to carve a hollow part inside to make the branch more flexible. I like also to use wet toilet paper to put inside of the branch, so I can really give to the fiber of the wood as much moisture as I can, and really is working very well. I mean, I did a big bend on a Scots pine that I have home. He has a big branch like this already with a curve, so I was hollowing all this part, put inside the cut paste, the toilet paper, then raffia and the plastic, do the bend, close on itself, take away everything after 6 months, and the tree was healing and eating. I wasn't able to take out the paper. And eventually, all these big operations, first styling, big bending, my advice is doing on the tree only if the tree is earthy, because otherwise you're gonna kill it. Because if we work on trees that are sick, we make them even sicker, and then they start having problems. They get easy, they can get disease, and you're gonna lose the tree, and it's a pity. You know?
When you make such an acute bend,
Cute, you mean nice? Ah, no, not nice. Okay, strong.
Yeah. Did you remove wood on the opposite side, or you were able to bend it without removing any wood?
Depend on the tree. So there are many different types of bending that we can do. I can mention some, if there is time. So starting from the normal bending, we can do what I call a visual bend. We did on one object tree. This means we can bend the branch all at the same time or during different time without any protection. So we leave the fibra the time to stretch and we control the bend. Okay? We can do this bend on a normal branch like this, or if we have, for example, in a juniper, we have to break a part of the wood to stretch the branch down. Okay? If it's just a break from up to down and I open this part, I can eventually not protect and don't do anything. Eventually, in the part where the live vein detach, I put some cut paste just to avoid the loss of moisture. Then is the bending with the protection. So if I feel that this branch, I have to bend down, I have to bend back, I need to give movement, I put the raffia, I put the plastic, I'm very careful to wire in the correct position. So when I put the branch in the final position, the wire is very tight to the branch. And having the raffia and the plastic, I can also recover the branch during the time. Okay? Then for big bending, I can do the if it's a pine, for example, that obviously most of the time has big branches that are all alive, I need to select, for example, if I want to bend like this, obviously I need to carve a channel here, so when I bend, I keep having this fibra alive, because this fibra can stretch. If I bend the fibra, so let's say, if I have the channel outside, and I bend on themselves this fibra, I'm going to kill them, because it's like strangling, okay? But here, the fibra can stretch. So my advice, if you have, for example, here, okay? If you have a branch that has already a little bend, obviously it's easier to close the bend than open, okay? So this is the other type of bending. If it's a juniper, and maybe that branch of the juniper has some dead wood, I can decide or to carve where is the shari line, so I remove actually the hardwood of the tree, or I can sometimes detach a live vein from a part of the dead wood, so I can bend the live vein as it is a small branch. Don't sleep already, please. I'm so boring. I see. You was out for party last night?
Party.
So you don't have excuse to sleep. And as I said, we can detach a live vein for a part of the dead wood and treat that live vein as a small branch. Because obviously we take away what is the solid part that is very strong, that actually is the hardwood, and we have just a live vein that obviously is all alive and is very flexible, or eventually more flexible. The trick is always try to break the fibras vertically and never horizontally. If you break horizontally, the sap is not gonna be able to move. If we break the fibra vertically, we create gaps, the famous gaps I was talking about, the larch in the mountain, and the side fibra are still moving the sap and the water. Okay? So, just need a little more piece there. I want to be sure that all the part that has the raffia in is very well covered. And now, the nicest part of the job, putting the wire on the tree. So, according to my idea of the design, so the position I want to put the branches and the structure I have, I can decide what I'm going to wire with what. And normally we know that if we have a piece of wire, it's always good to wire two branches together. Especially on this tree where I have this part here and this part here, I can wire the main branch with the second part, or the third part actually, of the trunk line to have a first good connection, and then I can redivide all the other branches according to which line they belong. So this branch belongs to this line, so I'm going to wire from inside, outside this part, and then from here I'm going to go up and wire this branch, always redividing and redividing the branch until I have only the small tips to wire. There are two ways I normally use for wiring. One is called by size. So I start putting the bigger size of the wire, then I go to the smaller, then the smaller, and then the smaller size. These help me to build a very strong and good connection between all the wire in the tree. I don't want to end up that I have wire here and no wire here and then another wire here. Because what's happened when I try to move this part? The tension is not able to pass from this part of the wire to this part of the wire. We have always to think the tree as a system. So A, B, C, and D. So we go from A to B, from B to C, and to C to D. We never go D back to A. It's always lower branches to upper branches and inner branches to outside. Two magical words. Bottom to top, inside, outside. Easy like fresh water. So, now I need to select my wire. That actually is the first operation that I have to do when I wire a branch. Let me see if we have stronger wire.
He's got to fix it.
So, I have two different scales when I wire according to copper or aluminum. Because we know that copper wire is stronger than aluminum, and even more that copper wire when get hot because we put in position is going to stop the position. So we know that copper wire, if we bend badly and we have to do it again, it's always good to take and cut the wire away. Otherwise we risk to damage the branch and probably that piece of wire we're not going to be able to reuse again. So for copper wire, my proportion is 1/4. For aluminum wire, that is a little bit weaker and more flexible, I use 1/3. Okay? So, this is my branch. See? This is 1/3 of the first part of the branch. Then, when you have this rule as a base, according to how young and flexible is the tree, which species is the tree, and your skill on wiring, you have to be able to pick the correct wire. Obviously, it's a question of technique and experience. So, for the big wire, I figure out how much I need, how long I need. I cut a piece of wire, and then the third operation. I need to know where I want to put a branch, because change. If this is my front, otherwise when I bend the branch, the wire is going to be loose, and I risk that in that gap, the tension from the branch is not able to be held by the wire, and I break the branch, especially in a big bend, and a bend that will have a lot of points of bending, because this branch I need to move here, remove, and then come back in the front. So actually you want to short visually this long part, because I can't cut, so I need to bend and visually short, and then with the end I can create my pad. Okay? So, if this branch has to be bent there, I need to wire clockwise. Okay? So I need to start here. No. See? I anchor the wire first in the strongest part of the tree. Okay? So I can manage this one, and this is stable. Let me do one more safety tour. Okay? And now I can go on the branch. I always start here because it's the better connection. I don't go inside here, that I call the armpit, because I imagine my tree down like that. So I call this part the shoulder. Huh, Steve? You remember? He's sleeping. You remember the shoulder?
Yes.
So, no reply, so maybe. He's already thinking of the menu about the Thanksgiving. So, I always try to work in front of the branch that I'm wiring, because the natural movement while I'm wiring is inside, outside, pulling the wire. I never work like this, like this, like this. It doesn't work. So I pull the wire. One hand is the holder, one hand is the twister. Because I twist the wire, and every time I go down, I do a little trick with my wrist. So I treat the wire as a whip. So the tension is going to go straight here, and I'm sure that the wire is very well connected to the branch. Okay? I try to be sure that my steps and my angles are always the same. Okay? So the angle has to be 45. Ah, you know that. Why? Because the wire is working 90 degrees according to the 45. So I'm pushing the branch in that direction, and the wire is working in that direction. And in the meantime, when I'm pushing, I also twist the branch. You see that this was like this, and I push the branch, and now it's like, because I'm twisting the branch, I use and I try to move the tension to the fibra, twisting the. Why in the tall mountain we find this twisted juniper? Trees are not stupid. They say, if we twist with the fibras, we can hold the pressure of the snow and the wind. If we just have the fibra straight, we break. So when we bend the branch, always be sure that we can twist a little bit the branch in the direction of the bending. Obviously, this is a major bend here. Then I have to bend, and I have to bend the branch against the movement of the wire, because obviously the wire has only one direction, even if I have to bend the branch in two different directions. But luckily, the second part of the branch is smaller than here, so even a bigger wire can bend my branch. Okay? And when I feel that the wire is too big for this part, I have to stop. So let me take my wire cutter. This part. Okay. And now I go up to the main trunk line. And here, the time wire counterclockwise is very well, because also this part is going down, so it's going in the direction I'm wiring. Okay? So the best is always try in the main structure of the tree to wire a branch that has that need a counterclockwise with another one that need a clockwise, because we know that when we make this angle, one part of the wire will be in one direction and the other one in the opposite direction. And also the same here, when I feel that the wire is too big, I cut away. So now I can test the branch a little bit. Yeah, I feel that the part is taking the position. Maybe if I feel I need to bend more, I can also use a guide wire, so I can hold the position of the branch. Now, when I was telling about size wiring, the other way of wiring a tree is for branches. So I start wiring the main branch, everything, then I move in the second one and up to the third one until I'm in the top and everything is wired. Normally, when I style a tree for the first time and the tree need a structural work to build the main structure, I use the size wire. So I can be sure I can keep connecting and redividing all my system. When I have a tree that has already a structure done, clear structure, or a tree that I have to refine, I normally work here, and then I move here, 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 until I am in the top. It's just a question about, a good way to make the work easier. Okay? So now the next branches that I have to work, to wire, are 1, 2, 3, and 4. That are the next bigger one. So according to the fact that these two are in the same step, so I know I can't wire together, I will try to wire this one with one of the two, and this one with the other. So I create a good connection. Because if I wire these two together, that obviously I can, okay, because I just loop around and I easy wire these two, then I have a problem here, okay? So I'm going to select the correct wire, probably is this one. So I take a long piece so I can use for 2 and then the other 2.
Now, in the top of the tree, you seem like you have those 2 branches are almost in the same position. Aren't they coming out? So
this one?
Yes, those 2.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to cut one of them. No?
No, because in the top isn't one I can use for the back.
Oh, I see.
Actually,
All right.
and maybe one I can use to rebuild the top. So it's not even like rebuilding a trunk line like here or here. When I'm in the top, I try to keep as much as I can, because when I short the tree and I push the tree down, I need a lot of foliage to be able to make the tree looking a little bit compact. Otherwise, it will look like just a stick. Can I ask a glass of water, please? Thank you. So, same thing. Luckily, this branch has to come also in the front, and starting from the lower part, can wire the branch clockwise, pushing the branch in my direction. So, to create a stronger fixing, I do this, so I anchor also under, and then I go to the branch, and I follow the main wire, always pulling the wire, and what I find is this branch. And so I go up and wire easily the branch line. Thank you so much. I always try. You see, I work outside with my hand. I never work with both hands inside because I can't see. I work with this one outside. I twist the wire, and I also can move the wire sideways, so the wire itself can make its way through the little shoot. You see? And then I'm here. I feel that wire is big, and I cut away. So you easily can see how can I manage the branch with no problem. Now I finish the wire in the other one, always going and pushing the wire outside. When I have the first wire, I need to select the main line of the branch. I never do the mistake that with this wire I go to the first branch of the to the first little branch of this line that I found, because otherwise I will have a problem here. So my branch line will be this one, because this will be a side branch, even if it's a little bit bigger, but I want to use as a side branch. So I'm going to follow that line up. Okay, and then the last part of the wire I can cut. Okay, now I have this branch, so I do the same. I start from this position, go up the branch, try to anchor the wire, then I pull the wire, and going up, I try to hit and wire the other branch. Okay? And this one goes up here. I have an ugly part, so I cut away. Okay. So you see, I redivide my system now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What next? This one, this hand, this one, this, and this. Okay, so I go, select again the correct wire, and follow this one. So I have this last part of the branch, I do some selection too. Okay.
Less to wire.
Sorry?
Less to wire.
No, when I have a division like this and a third branch, I cut and I reshape and I do the same. I always try to imagine how will be my path, obviously. So I have to protect and be able to move this part. This wire will be too big, and I risk to damage the part that the way that I stay a little bit shorter. So I will run a line between this branch up here, and then this always coming outside, so I can have a good connection between the smaller branches and the bigger line. So also same way, I start from the part of the branch that is inside. I follow the main wire, always pulling the wire outside. Move the wire. I go to the longer line, as I said before. Follow the line here. And then I never arrive with the big wire at the end of the small branch because I can't manage properly the small branch. Good position. Now I wire this one. I try always when I wire the branch, even if they are tweaking a little bit here and there, to flat them and push outside, so I can also have a visual control, and when will be the time to put everything in position, I have them already flat, otherwise I need always to treat them. So I'm the one decided to push the branch, because the branch is doing this, and I wire in the way that the branch is, and then I have to do this. The wire is already losing the point. Okay, so I try always to help the wire. Then I take another piece. I have this one now. So always the same story, inside, outside. Following the main wire. Okay. If I hit some of the leader stuff at this point, I can clean them. There is no big deal. When I arrive here, I need to go on this branch here, side one. Always straight in. We are. What left? I have this one, this. This is connected to this line, so I want to do these two together. This is connected to this line, so I'm not going to wire this one trying to reach this branch or this branch or this branch, because they don't belong to the same line. So easy. I have a nice jig here. I can just connect my wire to the gin. Nice loop. The tension is holded. Inside, outside. And these go. And also because this branch is a little bit bigger than the other one. So for the other ones, I can use a smaller wire. Okay?
So is that gin your anchor point?
Exactly.
Nothing beyond.
Because inside, outside. I don't try to wire against the trunk, trying, let's say, to reach this one that actually belongs to this line here. Okay? And I need also to do something here. Good. Now I have redivide again. Now I have this. Actually, this is under the branch again. Cut away. This and this one. So select my wire. When I wire with the small wire, I take long pieces. I don't need to measure as I did with the big one, because I know that this one I'm gonna use. So I go here to the lower branch, do my anchor. I don't do the mistake to go also here from this branch to this one, otherwise I don't have wire here because I don't have the connection. So I keep running my wire outside, and now I can go in one of the other two lines. That actually is the one I feel is the strongest.
Is that the middle one?
Sorry?
Is that the middle one that you're?
No, there are two. So it's one of the side ones. Yeah. But eventually will be always with the one you feel is the strongest line. Even if they are like two branches of the same size, you have to wire first the one you think is the prosecution of the branch line. Okay? Never a side one first, then that. Then I go and wire this one. Now, we start from the inner one, always the inner part of the branch, following the main wire, I come outside, and easily I arrive at the other branch. Okay. With no crossing, no gapping, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So this part is wired. Now, one wire here, up here, and there. Same story here, strongest line first, and this after. Wire. Now I feel that this part I need to protect a little bit more, so I can a little bit overwire this branch, so I can recreate a better connection and be able to go also on this branch here. And even more, because this part of the apex will be a little bit tricky on when I'm gonna bend it, because I need to compress and compact to build the apex. It's better to have a wire more. There.
When you say that a branch needs protection, what does that mean?
It's my way to say that I need to wire properly and a little bit sometimes also overwired, because as I said, is the first styling, to be able to move as much as I can the tension. Because if a point is still stiff, because the wire is not supporting, I risk that when I want to put in position, I give too much tension and it breaks. Okay? Now I have this one. So, you see that all, now the bigger and medium and re-medium branches are wired. So I can just take my small wire, restart here, wire everything, boom, 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 until everything is wired. I try to be as quick as possible. So I can also select my little branches. So I go from here outside. With the little branches, you can start from the inner one and then just loop around and go to the second one until the end. You don't have actually to go until the lower, the longer line, because the line is already wired. Okay. The smaller one, the smaller wire actually is never the first wire hitting, arriving to a branch. So can just wire, keep going out sideways. What's the time? How long I have?
We're good.
You're good.
We are good?
Yep.
I'm very good, I know.
Yep.
Give me some pressure so I go faster. You have 10 minutes. I was in
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes ago. I was in.
You got 4 hours. We're going to be here for 4 hours. So
Oh
you gotta
yeah,
keep talking.
you can. I'm gonna go home. I was in Indianapolis. It was funny. So the club said we're gonna have you for a demo, and then they told me the demo will be from 6 to 9. So I had like it was 4 or 5 trunk juniper, a lot of wiring. Some selection, some work of the demo. I said, I'm pretty confident I can do it with no problem at that time. And the day before the demo, they said, no, it's not correct. It will be 2 hours from 7 to 9. I said, okay, so it's better maybe we do some cleaning of the tree before, just cutting away what is very hanging down and stuff like that. The day of the demo, they said, we need to do a little bit of politics stuff before, so 7 became 7:20, and then when I was working, they said, yeah, but at 9, we need to go to be out of the room and everything needs to be cleaned, so 9 became 8:45. So yeah, it was really my shortest demo ever.
Where did this larch come from?
You have to ask.
Came from Oregon, from 99.
Also, as you notice, I try to work always with my scissor in the hand, so I can always reselect, cut what is not necessary. I don't have to keep picking up the scissor. Actually, my advice, I like to work on this one, but my advice is to buy something like this. You can hold one of your finger inside, and it's very, very comfortable to work with. Because you can easily hold in your hand. When it's time, tack, cut it. Okay, everything is wired, so now I can, let me drink this water before I make a mess. Thanks. I'm moving the next branch. When I have a branch and I have a big wire and I arrive with the small one, I can cross one on the other, so I can actually stop the little branch to unwire from the big wire when I want to put in position, because otherwise if I have a small wire and then I move the branch, it's going to unwire from the big one. It's something that I don't want. Actually, this is the only time that should be allowed to cross the wire. Obviously, with the small wire, crossing a little bit sometimes is not the main problem. But if we use always the rule from inside outside, we will be able to avoid that problem that most of the people has. Question? How many questions tonight? Only that guy is making questions.
Can I repot that in the spring?
No. It's always, my advice is always wait one season before touching the roots of a tree that has been touched in the green before. Because you risk to make the tree sick and don't reply perfectly to the work I did. And then the tree died, and the people say, Mauro came in Chicago and killed a larch. So, I don't want that. So better you report 1 year after, so then the tree die, and they say, she killed the larch. No, it's always about the thing that we give stress to a tree, and then it's better to leave one season the tree to recover. Then we can give the stress again. I try always to divide the stress that I give to a tree because of repotting to the stress I give to the tree because on a work on the vegetation. Okay? I never do the two things together. It's safer.
Now, how do I overwinter that in Chicago?
A larch? I mean, you have only to protect. The secret in winter, the tree don't have, the conifer actually, don't have problem about very low temperature. What is very dangerous for them is the cold wind, because dry out the branches, you know. So if you protect the tree with a kind of a barrier from the cold wind, the work is done. You can have 3 meters of snow on top of the tree, And actually it's better because we know that snow is also a protection from the cold. So yeah, and my trees stays outside all winter, really no problem. Obviously I take care to, you know, when it's snowing a lot, I push down the snow from the branches, because if the trees are styled, and especially my trees are very, very old and mature, I used to lose the shape a little bit if I leave a lot of snow, a lot of weight of the snow on top of the tree. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of keeping the tree in the garage.
Oh, really? Why?
Because it's always tricky to understand when you have to give water. If they are conifer, they don't have light enough, because conifer need light also during winter, and most of the time in the garage, you know, you don't have enough light.
Light during the dormancy period?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Sure. They still have chlorophyll in the foliage. Chlorophyll need light, even in winter. Absolutely.
So you keep your trees on the stands in the winter?
Yeah, they're outside in the benches.
And how cold does it get?
Minus 20 Celsius is the record. So it's pretty cold. I think it's like here. When we was talking with Jeff, he said that also here you get pretty tough tide, because they get hit by the wind. The roots are protected, they are in the soil. Most of the time also on top of the soil there is snow, or there are dead leaves that make a layer. But the cold wind is going to dry everything out.
You're not trouble with your pots cracking,
Sorry again?
you're not trouble with the soil freezing?
If the pots are well made, the ceramic is able to hold hottest temperature and lowest temperature. Never got a pot broken during winter.
And in this pot here, this winter for this tree, would you dig it into the ground?
No, no. For trees that are in a small pot, if you really want to protect the root ball, you can put in the ground in a place that obviously is not gonna get heated, and you can put some
Mulch.
leaves,
Yeah.
just to create you know, a layer between the snow and the root. But as I said, this is a conifer. Imagine where trees lives in nature, in the rocks, in a pocket of rocks with nothing, and they still survive and they grow in spring. I mean, sometimes it's worse to overprotect a tree that need the winter, that not protect at all. Really, sometimes I see that tree died because you keep in a place that for winter is too warm, so the tree don't go in dormancy, and then it's a big trauma for the tree when it's time to restart in winter. Because what happened? The trees store energy in the cellular to be able to restart in spring. If that energy they have to use because you keep in a place that is too warm, they use the energy during winter. And then what they have? They have no petrol in spring to bud and start. So you have problem.
How old were you when you first started doing bonsai?
14 years old.
Yeah, and how did you come to it?
I don't know. No. I was at the first year of high school, and on the way back home, I was crossing always in front of this flower shop, and they had bonsai outside for sale. I was always interested in nature, animal, plant. Since I was a child, I was planting seeds in pots. Because, you know, I live in a place where really the mountains are there. You can touch them. So I see these stupid trees and I said, it's cool, it's nice. So one day I went in, asked the lady, and she was really kind and explained me that bonsai come from China, then Japan. She gave me all the story. And actually she was a little bit interested too. She was joined the club of the city. She told me, after she saw me, like, it became like a daily meeting to cross the place and annoy this lady with a lot of questions and try to get a tree for free, actually, that they could kill, maybe. So one day, probably she had enough of me and said, no, there is a club, go there. So I start going the Tuesday night at this club, and I was like kind of the mascot of the club, because, you know, most of all, older person, and I was the youngest one going at the club with my little motorcycle, and sometimes in the weekend the club was going on this exhibition, this other exhibition, so they bring me there, and I start really being very passionate. I started collecting some trees in the side of the river that crossed my town. Not the best Yamadori, but was a good start. I remember there were trees growing in the concrete. They used to, you know, so tree maybe 10, 15 years old, but you know, for me they were like the best trees. And everything started like that. I always kept my passion through the years. Always had my little stupid trees outside in the bench, even if I was traveling. And then obviously already at the end of high school I was a little bit more serious. I started having some nice tree, and I have really the mountain like 1 hour from my place, so there are a lot of places that I can say that my mountain are like the Rocky Mountain for Italy, that I can find juniper, pines, and very nice tree for to bonsai. So in the meantime I was a little bit more expert. I was able to see the tree in the bush, actually. That is something that we have to get used to. It's not only, bonsai is not only about technique, but it's also about vision. You need to be able to see the bonsai in the bush. So I started having some good trees, and then I met people involved to the really Italian Bonsai Association. I started bringing trees to the exhibition, and every year more and more and more. And like 10 years ago, I remember I was in Milano, because I was really well known, because I'm like Randy Knight for US. I was one of the collectors for the good trees in Italy, so everyone knew me because that. I was in France, and I met this guy from France, and he said, I see your trees on, at that time I had a little website, blog actually, and I was posting some picture of my trees. He said, I want you to come for my club, in France, and do a workshop of a weekend. Are you happy to do it? Yeah, sure. And I've been there for the first time. In the meantime, I had already a group of friends coming in my house, because normally it was the Tuesday night at the club, and then because I had a lot of trees and I need help to take care of them, you know, the youngest guy, the more passion, they came, they was coming. We do now also every Monday night when I'm home. We meet in my place. They come, they help me with my tree, so I kind of teach them for free, and I need a lot of help for my trees actually. Yeah, you know, when you have very mature trees is a lot of work. Just rewiring a tree, taking off the wire, do the normal cleaning. At the end of the season, normally we have to clean all the dead wood of juniper, you know. So yeah, it's a lot of work. And you know, it started like a hobby that became more and more serious. And then I started being out from home like 1 month in total in a year, then 2 months, then 3 months, and now I'm home 50 days in a year. So yeah. Also traveling for me is a kind of an addiction. I really love to be in different places and visit new places I never been, because for is a big chance. Also, when I was at university, I was involved in a project to bring people around Europe and show them the architecture. So I was kind of the guide for these architecture trips in Barcelona, especially Barcelona and Amsterdam. Yeah. So I also did architecture for the last actually 11 years since I graduated. I had my own business in my town. But last year I was working with my father actually. Last year unfortunately he passed away, and I had to decide what I want to be when I was old. So, you know, I love architecture, I love bonsai. Bonsai is more fun, is no stress. Architecture in Italy is difficult. It's always running under this, you know, political stuff, bureaucracy. Try always to get the project approved by the local council, and take always ages because it's very stupid bureaucracy. So I said, you know what? Let me do bonsai. Then one day we're gonna talk. So, telling stories now, all the tree is wired, every single branch. So, I need actually to see which one in my front. I need to figure out how much I can bend this branch so I can also decide if I really need to tilt the tree or not. So, when I style the tree, first of all, it's good I mark my front, so I can always look at the tree from the same angle. Boom, 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 boom. So I want to find the front, when a little bit, I want to see this part, give some character to the tree. Very full of roots, this tree, or there is a rock. Probably other roots. Yeah.
In considering the flexibility of the branches, would you, let me rephrase it. What are the significant differences between wiring a tree like this one and ponderosa pine, which also has very flexibility?
Yeah, actually, wiring the trees, in general, there is no difference. As I said, it's always trying to start from some rules, that is the famous 1/3 and 1/4, and according to that rules, put the wire that correctly make the work. If we have to bend a big branch, we will never have a wire 1/4 of this branch. Probably the one-way wiring or two-way wiring is only holding the fibra together while we are bending. So sometimes we have to bend branches using guide wire. Tick, 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 and push, tack, 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 and put in position. With branches like this that are kind of flexible and young, the work is done actually by the wire. Okay? Now I want to create a twist to be able to come back in the front. I need to reflect the branch. I need to use one other spira here. Especially on larch and spruces, when we have to design the last part of the pad, we need to be very, very flat, because it's kind of the characteristic of the species.
Did you hear any cracking at all when you were blending?
Yes, but I don't tell you. No. No. It is, as I said, it is a really, really flexible branch. So.
Sure is.
Sometimes we need to wire some part that after we're gonna cut, but I don't. When I wire the little branches, for example, I still don't know how long I need them to create my pad. So obviously I need to wire, and then when I set up my level, I can cut. Because the first part of this branch is a little bit stiff, and I didn't want it to overwire. I need to put a little guy wire between the branch and the gin to be able to modify the first part.
Did you ever decide how you're going to repot that tree at an angle or?
Sorry again?
How are you going?
Yeah, it can be a rectangular pot. Yeah, it would be. I'm trying to build the tree a little bit roundish,
right.
Top, so to make it looking, to make the tree look older. So yeah, probably a rectangular pot would be better.
I was actually asking if you were going to tilt it anyway, or you had mentioned you were going to.
No. You mean change the angle?
Yes.
No, as I said, I'm pretty happy about the position of the first branch. I was not sure if I wasn't able to bend this first part, but I feel that with this front I have a pretty nice first branch here, and then as you see I'm building the secondary branch, and then I have a nice connection here. Actually, I need to short this branch in the side, because otherwise I risk to build optically a branch that is too heavy according the size of the first branch and actually taking away the interest from the main branch. So I want to have something here, and then I'm going to use this one to build something in the back. But this part I don't want to have too strong. I need a guy wire. So, that part. I always try to fix my guy wiring in the band, in the gap in the bigger wire, so I don't have to eat the branch. Luckily, in the front I have the other gap, the main wire, so I can fix on itself. As I said, I can use this branch to create a connection, so I can move this one a little bit in the back, create another bed. So my way of working is very easy. I'm very schematic when I work, and this helps me to be accurate and precise on what I'm doing. When I style the tree, I set the main structure of the tree, starting from the lower branch, and I go up, so I'm sure that slowly I'm reaching the design that I want. Try to use all the branches that I have wired to cover the different angle and the different position of the tree. So all of them in the future, they can have nice sunlight to develop. Okay. Now, the most tricky part of the tree, the apex. Luckily, I was thinking to keep the movement, so I wire counterclockwise so I can twist, and in the meantime bend down. So at the end, my goal is to be able to have these two to create my apex and make a nice twist in the top to actually compact all the part. In the meantime, I need also to try to recreate a side branch here. So probably it's good that I can have the apex. No problem. Can have the apex going back here, and this branch would be the connection. so I can open all the side branches. They can develop leader branches sideways. This one that crack can take away.
Can you talk a little bit about the aftercare for this tree that you styled so lasted?
He's protected the tree during winter, as we talked before, and in spring the tree is gonna just push, and especially the branch that were bended a lot, the tree is gonna put a lot of energy there, and we need to take care and look when the wire is gonna cut in, so we actually can be able to go there and cut the wire off. Obviously, we need to know that when the wire is start cutting on a branch, we don't have to cut away the wire from all the tree, because obviously some branches are taking the position and other ones are still in that, and are still trying to fix the position that I put. But if I cut away the wire from all the tree, some branches will have the position I want, and some other ones just go back in the main position. So as I said, normally a branch that got bended a lot is going to take the position before another one. And especially a branch that is in the top, like this, the tree is putting a lot of energy here. So, this is the final result. Was to short as much as I can the tree, because I have to avoid this part, just lowering down all the branches and make a nice compact tree. So you see that a little bit from the front, you see the shari here, and then you have the trunk line, but a little bit this movement of the branch is avoiding the eye to just see the strong, and then obviously the tree has to grow a little bit more here to be able to be a lot of roundish and compact, but there is a nice triangle. I like this branch to really help me to create my flat umbrella, and then I have two nice low back branches here to create my depth. The best will be in time to be able to bend this one and see into this gap. But it's still a little bit stiff, so I don't want to bend too much. But it's just a question of a second styling probably. I don't like this branch here. Is this pad here. It's starting really in a wrong position. is a little bit covered by this band now, but I feel that if in the future some of the higher branch is developing, we can actually cut this away. But you know, it's a first styling, so I'm very I don't like to cut really too much and make the tree sick. So I kept a little bit, some branch more. Thank you again for having me.
Now we're going to wrap.
I want to pick the number. Can I?
And Mauro, what's your website so everybody can know?
My website is italianbonsaidream.com. I love to pick the number. All right.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Read it out.
I think every number starts with 95. Then every number has a 1.
Yes.
And maybe a 5.
Yeah.
Correct?
Okay.
So only the last 3 numbers change.
Sometimes tickets have a name on the back because people have leaves. Just check that.
No, this one, no.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Somebody here.
sorry. So we said 9, 5, 1, 5, and then the next number is a 2. You got? Maybe. So we have other 2 numbers.
In the back.
So the next one is not a 3, but is a 0. And then she said, come on, sorry. Which number you want? Tell me. You, nice lady, which number you want? Tell me. Which is the last number? Which number you want at the end? Tell me. You want? No, sorry, it's a 3. So it's 203.
203.
No one else is mine. So it's 9515203.
Tony. All right.
Oh, yeah, Tony.
Tony's the lucky one.
Tony's always the lucky one.
Prego.